All right, what is up, and welcome to another episode of the Relentless podcast. This episode we're really excited to chat about because we got Endeavor season coming up right around the corner for all of our True Fit locations. So if you are an existing Endeavor veteran athlete looking to get after it this year, or even like our brand new True Fitters that have no idea what Endeavor is about, inside of this quick podcast, we're going to go over all the details about what to expect, also some cool expectations for this upcoming year, and how to prepare and get the most out of your Endeavor season. So without further ado, if we haven't met yet, my name is Tyler Koronich. I'm the CEO and founder of True Fit Fitness, and I'm here with the legend himself, Nick Eckardt, our Director of Athletics over all locations. So let's dive into it, man.
The Endeavor. Well, I'd like to ask you a question up front, and actually, how did we get started with this Endeavor program?
That's a good one. Yeah, so, initially starting with True Fit, we're obviously really strong on programs and challenges and whatnot. And it started with just an idea of how to keep us motivated through the summer and do a fun coaches team challenges. We've always done our 6-week challenges, as you know, and it was a fun one to join team together. And summer can be that opportunity where a lot of individuals kind of fall off. Maybe we have a little too much fun, lose track of our fitness goals. And I don't know, 5 years later, I think it's our 5th year, maybe 6. I think it's 5 or 6. Here we are, and it's something incredible. One of the biggest things that we do.
It's really evolved, right?
Yeah.
It's really evolved into quite the program and quite the event at the final event there.
No doubt. Do you remember the first year?
No. Yeah, of course I remember the first year. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the first year.
Besides what a success it was, right? For all of us in the background putting it together, we might have I don't know how we looked up top. You know how they talk that saying is the duck looks calm on top of the water, but underneath the water his feet are just kicking. That might have been us.
Yeah.
Or maybe we looked frantic up top too. I don't know. That could have been a little bit of both. But that first year there was a lot of learning, and I think we've learned every year. Every year we're taking something from the previous year and made it better. Yeah,
that was an interesting year too, because I think we started without 2 divisions. And that was pretty special because, originally we started and we're just like, hey, let's do it. Everybody do it. We're going to have some big transformations, which is a big part of Endeavor. It's not just racing and athletic. There is a big transformation piece. And then we saw that year that some individuals just really wanted to get after it, right? And I think that's a cool point up front. If you're watching this, you've never done Endeavor, it can seem like really competitive, really intimidating from the outside. But there are 2 different divisions, and there's the Rad and the Raddest, right?
Yep.
And the first year was interesting because we only had 1 division. We kind of grouped together teams, only a handful of locations at that point. And it was interesting to see some teams really want to get after it, which was really cool, and then see people that were scared to death of even doing it 5K, which was so special. Yeah. So awesome. And then fast forward a couple more years. So let's dive into, first off, what Endeavor is. Okay. So it's obviously an 8-week program. What can they expect over the 8 weeks?
Well, an 8-week program with your team. So our teams are on average 7 people in a team. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And
the outline on that, just a bullet point, is 6 to 8 people. So 7's a good aim number for sure.
And with your team, you are competing in several different areas, whether that be the body composition challenge or the actual physical events that we have. So it's an 8-week process. We got our 8 weekly workouts that you're completed individually, but you're summed up as a team. So you're only as good as your worst player or whatnot. And then we also have what comes along with that. When it comes to your body composition, you're working along with your team. So your team is probably going to be planning out and strategizing for these weekly workouts, but you're also being held accountable by those guys. Well, how are you recovering from those workouts? How are you fueling? And how does that transfer to just, everyday life?
Yeah, that's a special piece. So, kind of backtrack, it's 6 to 8 person teams, and not only do you have the leaderboard aspect, you have the weekly challenges. Nick just mentioned today that he's got those wrapped up and tested for this year, so we're all really excited about that. Yeah. But the biggest transformation team is still a very, very special part, and I don't want us to lose that. What's going to happen is you as a team, you will, just like you're averaging your athletic scores throughout the week and then the final event score, you also have an opportunity to win biggest transformation team, which is huge. So you'll take your metrics based upon the in-body, and whatever team has the biggest transformation average with all your teammates wins the biggest transformation trophy and award, which is incredible. And that's pretty exciting. So even if like the event, the challenge, the grit, the opportunity of the athletic workouts doesn't get you going, you still have the opportunity, if you really want to make some serious physical changes and transformations, you have that aspect, which is really cool, because you don't even only just have an accountability buddy like Nick mentioned. You have your whole team that's holding you accountable.
Right.
And some of us need that. For me, I think I get really motivated on, maybe not being lackadaisical with my diet and so forth, because I want to make my team proud and not hold my team back for that instance too. So, that's dependent on your goals and whatnot, but you have two different pieces. And then we should mention the two different categories. Right? So we have RAD, which is beginner, and then we have RADIS, which is like intermediate to advanced.
Yeah, and it just goes to, like we keep saying, that Endeavor's for everyone, and it really is, right? Whether it's your goal is more body composition focused, or maybe you are just someone that loves to compete, or maybe you're just someone that just likes to be part of a team, like me. I'm a big fan of that camaraderie. Coming back from my hockey and firefighting background, that's what gets me motivated. And so everyone's motivated by something else, or something different, and that's why this competition is so unique. And I think has been so successful. Yeah,
no doubt. And I think there's a big piece there, like the camaraderie, being inside of a team. Some of us, depending on age, like I haven't felt, that team in that instance with the competitive sports or anything for, probably 10 years over that, So for individuals, it might even be more, or maybe never experienced that in their whole life, which is really special. I know once you're on an Endeavor team, the bond you make with your team is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yep. And some of the teams just have so much fun too, right? Like, last year our last couple of years, we're doing the Team Spirit Award, and that brought out a lot of fun antics. I'll name drop that Canton team. Fit Chased. They were a riot last year.
Yeah, and the Pinckney girls brought it home.
And then the Pinckney girls are the ones that brought the championship, or that title home.
Yep.
But it's just and then of course one team's always going to push another to go a little bit farther, right? And so it's fun to see. It's fun to see.
Yeah, I think as we dive into more of the details, so let's get some more details out of the way.
Okay.
There's 7 weekly workouts. Okay. So Nick has tested, and we're super excited. I'm going to do a little sneak peek today. But they get released on Tuesday nights. You get 1 workout. Okay? You get to do that workout up to 2 times. You can only retest it up to a certain amount of times because we want everybody to stay safe. But you'll take your individual score for that workout, usually 4 to 5 minutes in length.
Yes, average 4 to 5 minutes in length.
Yep, and you do that workout, you get your score, and then you average your team scores together. Now, we will be taking the lowest score out, and that's a 0, which is great, because if you're really intimidated that you're going to be the lowest score and hold your team back, not an issue, which is really cool.
And some people have strengths and weaknesses, and each workout's a little bit different each week. So you might have trouble with this week's workout because these movements aren't your strong suit. Well, just wait till next week, and that's where you're going to shine.
Yep, and that's a big goal. I know Nick's a genius when it comes to programming, but making sure it's varied, right? So whether you're a very strong individual or a really fast individual, maybe a mixture of the two, all these challenges are going to give everybody an even pace and even challenge. And also, it's kind of cool to see where your holes are and where you need to improve for next season.
Right.
So obviously, we all inside TrueFit, we want you to be athletic, feel great, be healthy, but also we want you to improve on the areas that we call them weaknesses as well.
Right.
So that's an interesting point to it as well. Individuals that are listening to this right now that might not get amped up by the athletic challenging part, what would you tell them?
Well, I think they might be surprised. So some maybe never do, but I think some might be on the fence and don't think they will be. And once they experiencing the class in front of them, pushing them as they're going through their workout, or their teammates or whatever, not sometimes you you see someone that isn't competitive in class, or you feel like you know them for a few years if you've been coaching them, but then all of a sudden they're a couple weeks into the Endeavor and you're like, wow, this is the most competitive person I've ever seen. Slow down. But, so if you've never experienced it, I would definitely say, just try it out. Might change your thinking. But if the workouts aren't what's fueling you, I guess is your question, and there's other things that will. So like you pointed out to the fact that they're maybe going to point out some weaknesses that you may have in your game. Well, maybe that's where you're focusing on. So you're doing some mobility stuff, or maybe your weaknesses are the recovery aspect. So, what's great about this is we have so many tools available for our members that they're going to be able to have access to when going through this. So they're going to fill those holes.
I think this is a cool point because a lot of individuals, I was actually myself, I didn't think going through probably until high school, until I started mixed martial arts and fighting, I didn't think I was a competitive person in nature. I just I don't got the competitive bone in my body. I'm just not that person. Rather than Nick over here will puke on workouts sometimes just to make sure we don't get close in scores.
And me knowing you didn't think that you were a competitive person either.
Yeah. And I got into mixed martial arts and other fields, and all of a sudden when competition happened, it was a completely new area for me, right? And I was in my early 20s when that happened, but there's a lot of individuals that are probably watching this right now, maybe still think you're not a competitive individual. And when we say competitive, that word, if you guys have never done Endeavor and you're super intimidated, might be just pushing you away, and we don't mean it like that.
Right.
What I think is really special is just being placed in the opportunity where you can really just surprise yourself.
Right.
Some of us, our level of what we think we can achieve is down here. I know my favorite stories from Endeavor, and they never get old, are people that their expectations of what they think they can do is right here, and when they start every year, start exceeding those expectations, are so proud of themselves and accomplished by the end. It's around a 5K fitness race. A lot of individuals haven't even ran 2 miles or jogged a mile before,
right?
And that's totally perfect. So what I would encourage is this is your opportunity. I don't want to say to see what you're made of, but surprise yourself. Exceed your expectations and really put it out there. And there's a fad. I don't want to say a fad, but there's a very strong inclination in the fitness industry right now where there's an excessive space between staying safe, but also never having the opportunity to challenge yourself and get gritty as well.
Yeah.
Right? So this is Endeavor season. It's actually 8 weeks this year. It's been 12 in the past because sometimes too long of going hard on weekly workouts and so forth can get a little too much.
Just another process of us evolving the program, yeah.
And if someone was watching this and they're just hey, I'm nervous I'm going to injure myself or go too hard, I'm not interested in that because I don't want to get hurt, what would you say?
First off, I don't believe that would happen.
Right.
I don't believe that would happen, but yeah, it definitely can. You know what? There is that RAD and RADIS division. So if that is a real concern for them, well, I think that probably the RAD is going to be the best choice for them right off the bat, no matter knowing their fitness levels or not. If that is what you're thinking, well, then you should probably be in the RAD and experience it first. Because, again, it's at your own pace. It's what you make it, and it's what you want it to be. So I think, if it's every individual, it's going to be different. So that shouldn't hold somebody back. And I wouldn't want it to, and I really would want to express that to them. Because safety is number one, and it's something that we think about. And it's something that even with the weekly challenge workouts that we have throughout the program that have evolved as well. And now we are thinking very highly of what kind of movements are we putting our members in. Are they safe? Are we going to jeopardize their health? Are they going to get hurt through these? Well, we're going to make sure that we differentiate different categories for them and make sure that they're comfortable when they're competing.
Yeah. And Nick, this is a good point. We put a lot of intentionality behind keeping our members safe and keeping our expectation, keeping them in a space where it's keeping them as safe as possible. I guess I could say it. But there's a trend, and there's fitness coaches out there and so forth that will push really heavy on don't push yourself. Keep it at your 20 percentile of what you're capable of at all times because you don't want to risk injury. But there's a lot of the fitness professionals have went through different areas of life where they have really got to push themselves and see what they're made of. That's right. Right? So for me, I've done MMA, I've gotten on stage before in men's physique competitions and stuff like that. I've done gritty stuff before. It's wrong for me to take a client just because I want to keep them safe and never put them in a position where they can see what they're made of. Yeah, and that's a really good point to bring up, right? Yeah, I think it's almost trendy right now to safeguard against injury. And I think we're forgetting about how important it is to push ourselves. We need to push ourselves. Yep. When we're doing it in a facility like TrueFit, you have eyes looking out for you. You have people that are going to look out for your best interest. So yeah, push yourself. That's what we're here to do. And where does change happen, right? What does it take to make that change happen? And we know what that takes. And it's
pushing our boundaries. You know,
Yeah.
a little discomfort is sometimes a good thing.
Yep. And without that challenge, a lot of our top percentile of what we think we're capable of is right here because we've never got the opportunity to exceed it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the goal. Moving into it, now if you are on the fence and you've never done Endeavor before, an encouragement that I'd like to make, and I'm sure you would agree, is if you are uncertain if you are intermediate to advanced or rad, we do have indicators. So we'll make that live inside the All Locations community group. Make sure your location and ask your head coach if you don't see it of like what kind of expectations you would need to compete in the raddest division, right? This can be on both sides of the spectrum, but individuals who keep doing rad every year that should be doing raddest, it's time to step up.
Right. Definitely.
Okay, but also if you're newer to TrueFit, and let's say you're a really strong individual, you might see those weights on the suggested weights, and you'd be like, I have no problem moving that. But what's your run look like?
Yeah.
As well. So we really don't want pride and ego to get in the way, where you bump up to raddest and maybe you're not ready for it, or we don't really want fear to get in the way, where it's time for you to go up to raddest and you keep doing rad every year.
Right.
Right. So it's time for you to kind of push it a little bit and so forth.
Yep.
So we're going to put those indicators out. I think they're already live, but we'll make sure they're really public on how to choose that.
Yeah.
Do you have any more tips on like how to choose if you're a rad or raddest?
Well, you know what? I think your teammates will help you. You know, a good tip is just to talk to your team. It's a team that you're on, because it's not like it's individual. It's either going to be a rad team or a raddest team. So you need to make sure that you're feeling comfortable going at your pace with your team, right? So that would be something that I think a good conversation with your teammates would be beneficial to have.
Yep. And even if you don't have a team, so, we have two different types of banners up in our locations right now. We have a free agents banner, and then we have our actual teams. It starts on the free agents banner. If you don't feel comfortable approaching people, I get it. Okay, you don't want them accept you on the team and maybe you think you hold back. There's a lot of thought processes and overthinking that can happen here. It's really important just to get your name on the free agent board.
Yeah.
That's the first step. Write your name on the free agent board. Your coach, your head coach, and so forth will get you on a team. They'll be excited to.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time we do huddles with the owners and locations about Endeavor, we get so excited, and it's about the event as well, but it's also about what happens outside. Yeah. A lot of teams are doing team runs. A lot of teams are doing team workouts outside, socials, all these types of things. You'll never understand the amount of friendships and camaraderie you'll get from joining Endeavor.
Right, and then the faster we can get you on that free agent banner, free agent sign up, well, the faster we can get you training for the Endeavor coming up, right? So another thing that we maybe haven't talked about yet, but we have some Endeavor training protocols that we have coming up. So whether you're a seasoned Endeavor athlete and you want some of these more advanced techniques and tips and workouts that we got coming up, well, you can have access to them by signing up right away. Or whether you're someone that's on the fence, we have those as well. Our Couch to Endeavor program is out there. So get up on that sign-up sheet and get training. Get ready for it.
Let's touch on that too. So Nick put together two amazing resources. One is the interval weight training. Yep.
It's a style of training. This is going to be a weekly workout that's out. That the workouts are mimicking what we might see in the Endeavor program. Help you prepare for that. So I know competing in these with your TrueX classes throughout the week is going to get you better prepared for the Endeavor programs and workouts that are coming up. You'll do better with that program by starting off sooner. We also have the interval runs to go along with those. The interval runs to go along with that interval weight training program. So we got two different things for those advanced athletes.
Yeah. And I heard Couch to 5K.
Yeah, the Couch to Endeavor program is very similar to a Couch to 5K program, where running, we know, especially been doing this Endeavor for so long, when we get the biggest pushback from members that are unsure about the Endeavor itself, it's the running portion of it. They're very scared. A 5K is very intimidating to them. Well, first off, it's not a 5K that you're running all at once. It's definitely split up, and there's different variations to this actual event. But along with that, we know how to build you up so you can run a 5K or run the distance that we'll have you run. And this Couch to Endeavor program will get you there. It's a run walk program. It's low intensity. It's at your own pace, and it'll help you get seasoned and ready for this to start.
Yeah. Super, super grateful that Nick put together. These are new resources that we have available for our locations this year.
Yep.
Okay, so if by chance you are watching this and it's closer to start and you feel like, hey, I didn't train for this, it's okay. We have never offered this training protocol in the past. Yep. So you'll be totally sufficient. And even if you join at the beginning of Endeavor, or maybe you're brand new to our facility, which is phenomenal and welcome to the family, you have 8 weeks.
That's right.
They can get ready for a 5K.
That's right. Yeah, this isn't just, that's a great point. It's not just a preseason program, right? You could run this throughout the program at all. It's 4 weeks. So maybe you're running it on the start of the Endeavor 2 times through to help you get ready and supplement your already existing training.
Yeah. So don't think it's actually, I don't want to say it's easier than a regular 5K, but it's going to feel, I think it would actually feel a lot easier than a regular 5K because you're broken up.
Right.
If running is your worst suit, you'll be okay.
Yep.
Because it's broken up so much. Throughout the
race. Definitely.
So now let's talk about real quick a true fitter who is very strong, does true fit workouts. We love them, but doesn't run that much. Okay. What kind of minute mile would you suggest for them to do raddest? If they think they're raddest, make sure you can run maybe this minute mile before you choose raddest.
Well, I think at a baseline, a 9-minute mile would probably be for a 5K. Would probably be for a raddest. Would probably be the baseline.
Yep.
And I say that with knowing that I know a lot of the raddest competitors could run a faster pace than that, but it's not necessarily needed in the event that we have. Right. If this was a very run heavy event and that was the main center of it, that those numbers might change a little bit. But I'm confident that you could be very competitive. Your team can be very competitive with a pace at that.
Yeah. So the goal, if you can run 9-minute splits for a 5K to be in the raddest category, and that's just a noteworthy point here. So we're ramping up Endeavor season right now. We're recording this. We're a month out. If you guys aren't in the All Locations community group, hop in there because we're also doing so much inside of that group, and another resource that we'll have soon that I can't chat about yet, but tons of giveaways. We have amazing sponsors this year. The ambassador team is putting together tons of giveaways, interactive things. We have the Spirit Team Award. That's one of the biggest prizes, you guys. The Endeavor Spirit. The next thing is the Body Transformation Award. You can win by that. You got first, second, and third in both categories, rad and raddest. And I do want to mention they're co-ed. I don't think we touched on that yet. But you can have co-ed teams. Doesn't matter what kind of split versus male and female. And so much interactive stuff throughout the season. So even if
throughout the whole 8 weeks, not just at the end. We're having giveaways every week of this program. So
So even at minimal, if you're one of those individuals, I just want to do it. It's going to keep me motivated. I'm going to have some fun throughout the summer. Beautiful and perfect. At the high end, if you want to compete and take that top trophy home, I get it. All right. And we want to make sure that we emphasize that Endeavor is for absolutely everyone. Okay. So as we kind of wrap up this conversation, anything else you want to bring up?
Gosh, I really feel like we hit it. I mean, we said Endeavor was for everyone 100 times, and I wish I could say it 100 more because that's really how I feel, and I want everyone to make sure that they know that. Yep.
And I, so much respect and kudos and exciting when I see those top teams hammer through it at the final event. That's really special. But my favorite stories, and I think the biggest winners of the event, are those people that are sitting here. They want to do it. They're so nervous. They want to do it. They're thinking about it. I'm so nervous. And those are the biggest winners of Endeavor ever.
Exactly.
And that's what true fitters are, right? We challenge ourselves. We step out, challenge ourselves in new ways. And we know that inside class and training, it's about the person next to you just as much as your own workout, right?
Yep. Definitely. Cool.
All right. So everybody that watched and so forth, you got more questions, keep them cruising. Ask your head coach. The All Locations community group is a place for that. And I'm excited to kick off Endeavor season here soon.
All right, guys.